Welcome to the newest installment of the Untitled Film Nerd Project. My name is Philip, and joining me as always is Ginger.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about Brightburn. Before we get into it, spoiler warning now. If you want to avoid spoilers, skip ahead to the time code you see on the screen. So, let's get into it.
So, did you like it?
It wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's about time we got an origin story of what if Superman wasn't here to save the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated that. It was like if teenage Clark Kent was mashed up with Damian from The Omen.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that we got a superhero horror movie, it's about damn time and long overdue.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I'd say it was a good movie, and I don't regret watching it, but it could have been a great movie, and I'll get into why when we discuss specifics.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this one was very entertaining, and for pretty much the reasons that you had said, giving us a superhero sociopath was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that this movie definitely had going for it that was also pleasantly unexpected was the gore.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'll touch on that.
Way more graphic than I expected it to have been. But yeah, overall, I was entertained.
Cool. Well, there was some stuff that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
As you brought up when you said the gore, my first thing that I liked is that it was rated R.
Mm-hmm.
This wouldn't have been nearly as enjoyable if it was PG-13.
No.
Case in point, the scene with the uncle in the car was stellar.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh shit, you're showing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the scene with the waitress and the glass in her eye, just like, mwah, amazing. Some other stuff I liked. The poster is badass.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I can actually look at it, because it's spoilery as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked his costume as Brightburn.
Yes. Yeah, that was a very creepy costume.
Very, like, moth-ish, kind of. And then they had the whole, like, wasp thing in the beginning. So I thought that was interesting. I thought Michael Rooker's cameo was amusing.
Yes.
And we had a hint at other superheroes, like Aquaman, Wonder Woman. Are they evil in this universe? And if so, can we see those versions too?
So interesting enough, in that, there was another hero pictured. It's Rainn Wilson's character from a movie called Super.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I was going to touch on that a little bit, but yep.
And yeah, that was also very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, but continue.
Elizabeth Banks was good, like she usually is. The sister, Meredith Hagner, sounds a lot like Yoga Jones from Orange is the New Black. That threw me for a bit. And as far as child actors go, Jackson Dunn did a decent job.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't feel like he had a lot to work with. But I'll get into that more in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
What did you like?
Again, I'm going to mirror a lot of what you said. There was the gore, as we already discussed.
Mm-hmm.
The transition of him from little boy to just being creepier and creepier and creepier. There was no mystery to it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was very straightforward with this kid is a sociopath. He's scary and creepy.
Right.
The entire scene with him and the little girl was very effective at showing how creepy everything that the boy was doing. And same with the scene with him and his aunt.
Right, yeah.
And the look of fear on her face was very effective.
Right.
Elizabeth Banks did do well. But yeah, so
okay.
Much of what you had said.
Right on. Now, some stuff that could have been improved. And this is kind of ranty, so bear with me. First of all, I'm disappointed in David Yarovsky because this is done by the same guy who did The Hive. And we liked The Hive. Even though I was really stoned when we watched The Hive, and I don't remember The Hive. I need to watch The Hive again. This is a step down for me. The two biggest problems, the plot and the pacing, as you brought up. I sometimes say movies could have used another 15 to 20 minutes. This movie needed at least another half hour. It needed to be a 2-hour story. And the entire 90 minutes we got felt rushed. My friend was watching it with me, and at the end he said, so what was the point of the love interest? And I was like, what was the point of anything, really? They needed to explore what exactly was the connection to the pod he came to Earth in. Why was it telling him to take the world? What were the actual motivations beyond, okay, evil now? I get that he realizes he's not human and that he's superior, but I think showing him torn between his human side and his alien side would have done much more to make his transition to that dark side even more palatable. And they really should have explored that more.
Mm-hmm.
And above where I compared it to like a Superman-Omen hybrid, at least with the Omen, we know why he's evil. He's the son of the devil. We never got any kind of exposition on that here. It's just, oh, evil alien boy now. And yes, the pod thing was controlling him, but as I said, they needed to go more in depth on that. It was just like he goes from like, I'm a schoolboy to murder, death, kill, murder, death, kill.
Mm-hmm.
We could have used that extra half hour to not only delve into those subplots more, but we could have also used it to flesh out the characters more. What was the significance of him turning 12 and that's when his superpowers activated? Like, you can't have that be the only defining characteristic of your main character, and that's all he had.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happened before in the 12 years prior? We know that they said he never bled or bruised, and then 5 minutes later he does, lols, and we'll get more into that in a second. But was he always emotionless? Or did he ever actually show that he loved his mom and dad, or aunt and uncle, or any human relationships? Like, who was Brandon Breyer?
Mm-hmm.
We never got to know that. Like the fact they dropped so much information during that end credits conspiracy theory bit, it feels like they withheld way too much in the main story and had a huge content dump at the end with the idea of expanding on the universe in future sequels. And to me, it came back to bite them in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
They needed to cram as much stuff as possible into this, focus on the characters more, and let the actions be a consequence of Brandon's struggle, both internal and external, as he discovers who and what he is. In that vein, I have to nitpick about 3 scenes in particular. The dad having the talk with Brandon was awkward as fuck, and just felt really... the movie was already poorly paced. This just felt like... too on purpose, I guess. Like it was like a sore thumb.
Mm-hmm.
The dad shooting Brandon in the head. I get what they were going for, but it didn't work for me. Like if he can't bleed or has never been bruised or anything, why would you think that would work?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't smart writing to me. The mom has her epiphany that he can bleed from the pod, and somehow outruns a superpowered 12-year-old to make it to the barn, find the diner worker like he was stashing bodies like Jason fucking Voorhees, and then breaks off a piece of the pod to try and stab him. And she did all of that before he could get to her? He just Swiss cheesed their house in about a minute flat. How did she manage to do all of that?
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. Like, how did she outrun him? That's annoying. It annoyed me. So of the movie, those are the 3 scenes that bugged me the most. As we said, the gore was cool. The acting was decent. But at the end of the day, it felt like half a movie. Like there's another half of this movie out there on the cutting room floor somewhere waiting to be a whole movie on a director's cut.
Mm-hmm.
And with the idea that this was supposed to be an evil Justice League setup and probable sequel to Yurovsky's earlier film Super, as you said, I think it needed to deliver way more in the story department. If this is your foundation story, that foundation needs to be rock solid. And this was wet cement with no concrete ideas to build anything off of. Ultimately, nothing meant anything because there was no substance to anything going on, which sucks because I want to see an evil Justice League. The end.
Mm-hmm.
And you. After I rant.
I will mirror most of that, except one of the other things that I will tackle on with that is that his supposed superior intelligence was just only present in an exposition dump.
Yeah.
There was never anything to indicate that he was that smart, aside from being able to memorize about Wasp.
And he never did anything smart in the movie, really.
Yeah.
And it was all relying on that, like, no one's there. Now he's behind you. Now he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
He's fucking Superman. It was unnecessary. Like, show us, don't tell us.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a blah, blah, blah movie instead of, like, I'm going to show you, which would have been much more cool in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else that you didn't like?
Oh, no. That's primarily it.
Okay. All things considered, would you recommend it?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It wasn't good, but it was worth watching once.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this was a superhero serial killer movie. So
yeah, it was a superhero horror movie, and long overdue.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you would like to add?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay. Well, that wraps up this episode. Thank you for listening. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends or cool people who might dig the Vizcast. Please subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the newest content. And there is a link in the description below for the Patreon that covers all of the creative endeavors, so please consider showing your support. Until next time, my name is Philip.
And I'm TJ.
And we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Bye.